Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new around here. Today we're on board with a player called MAWKZY. Now, a lot of you would have heard that name. You would have been more familiar with him probably in a 1v1 scene though, but here today we have 3 2v2 replays, and we're going to be on board with MAWKZY in all of them. Now, the reason I'm showing you these replays is because, like I said, you usually see MAWKZY in a 1v1 scene, but instead he has been playing a lot of 2s I've noticed recently, and it looks like he's been quite impressive as well. This is a very high ranked 2v2 lobby, and MAWKZY's up very quick here. Doesn't connect with the ball, but was trying to go for the block, relying on the opposition to hit the ball out there, I think, and but that didn't happen. Now, usually when players sort of start off as a 1v1 main, like MAWKZY has, they want to make that transition over to 3v3 when they become old enough. Now, to do that, a lot of them play 2v2. I think 2v2 is a good game mode to play if you want to become good at 3v3. Don't get me wrong, 2v2 and 3v3 are very different, but not many players play 3s in ranked because it's just really boring and yeah, just not that fun, to be honest. So it's good to see MAWKZY branching out. I'd imagine he's played a lot of 2s already before these replays, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is he's only just started playing 2v2, but it's good to see him playing different game modes and actually being very good at them, because a lot of 1v1 players, that's all they know, you know, that's all they know, and it takes some time for them to transition over to a 2s or even especially a 3 setting. Players like Nalpo have done it successfully. There's loads of players that have done it really. Scrub Killer was one. I mean, to be fair, Scrub back in the day was playing a lot of 3v3 because he was allowed to enter tournaments before he was 15. They weren't, I don't think they were RLCS tournaments, but there were tournaments that were played back then when he was literally like 12, 13 years old. You can see him on stage. It's quite cool actually, because he's really good as well. But yeah, there's a lot of players that you sort of first heard of in 1s that have made that transition over to 3s. I think Khalid probably one of them as well. There's loads of players. I'm drawing a blank there a little bit, but yeah, there's plenty of players. And MAWKZY, I think, will be one of the next few players that do that. That's a great flick from MAWKZY, something we're used to seeing him do in 1v1. A lot of his best plays will be effective in a 2 scene as well, because 2v2 a lot of the time, yes, you do want to work with your teammate, but I feel like 2v2 is just a lot of sort of solo plays to, you know, against the opposition. That's basically what it is, which is obviously what 1v1 is, because 1v1 is solo. There's no other choice. You have to be making solo plays. I feel like 2s is just basically taking turns with your teammate to make solo plays, unless there's an obvious pass, an obvious clear-cut pass. That's a really good save from MAWKZY's teammate. He did recover quite well there, and MAWKZY is back for this save as well, and he should be able to get a block here. He does so. Does try and go for the demo on the second man, doesn't quite make any contact with him, unfortunately, and that is actually going to be 1-1. The orange team there getting a goal back in this game to draw it level with just over 2 minutes remaining. But MAWKZY having a decent game, and we know how good he is in 1v1, one of the best in the world in fact, currently, and one of the best to ever do it as well. He's definitely up there. That's a great double bump from MAWKZY's teammate. Was one of the players not playing there? Looks like he may not have been playing, actually, one of them. I'm not too sure why. Maybe he had a control disconnect. But either way, he gets the double bump, and MAWKZY is able to move in for his second goal of the game to make it 2-1 for him and his teammate. Both players on the orange team are now playing. They have woken up, and maybe he was playing. He just knew he couldn't get to the ball. I'm not too sure. Flick reset from MAWKZY does get saved, and his teammate's shot is high on the bar, not on target. And MAWKZY now has very little boost to defend this. His teammate does get the clearance, to be fair. And MAWKZY here just trying to find some boost. He does get the 100 in the back corner. Minute and a half remaining. Waiting for this player to make his play. It's a good challenge from MAWKZY, and something that, again, one of his strong things that he'll have in 2v2 that he can carry over from 1v1 is strong 50-50s and strong kickoffs, you know, because that kind of thing isn't just good for 1v1, that's good for 2v2 and 3v3. If you've got a good kickoff, you're going to score plenty of goals in 2s, and if you've got strong 50s as well. So that's why 1v1 players are largely successful when they make that transition. If they players that start off in a 1v1 scene or 1v1 setting, they are most of the time pretty successful going into 2v2 and 3v3 setting, and it's good to see more 1s players doing that as well, especially in RLCS. There's a lot of 1s players, or a lot of players that started off in 1s that have made that transition over to RLCS now. Players like, you know, Oski springs to mind at the moment, doing very well for Team Liquid. A good goal there from MAWKZY, and that is going to be a forfeit for the opposition. MAWKZY's hat-trick there at the end, as you can see. 6 shots and 3 goals. A 3-1 win for him and his teammate. We're going to go ahead and move on to replay number 2. Okay, second replay. Back on board with MAWKZY, of course. And he has Polar on his team here. Polar, I believe, is a substitute for a certain team that my mind is going blank on. What does his name say? Doesn't give it away. But I believe Polar is a sub for a team. I have honestly drawn a blank. I know he was a sub for Stormtroopers back in the day. Oh no, he played on Stormtroopers, sorry. Back in the day with Appjack. And yeah, now he's a sub, I believe, for another team, or he is playing on another team. My mind is going blank, but we are 30 seconds into this one already, so I should probably focus on the game instead. And MAWKZY here just stealing some boost in the opposition corner. A decent bump from Polar is going to allow MAWKZY to move in on this ball with some space. He does get pressure to make a move, which he does so. He decides to carry the ball over to the sidewall and go for a pinch. Doesn't quite really get anything from it. There is a pinch, but not dangerous, no power at all. MAWKZY's got a free ball here to go up with. He gets a reset. Tries to play off the backboard. He does get the touch, to be fair, out to Polar. You can move in, but it's not really a good angle there to make a play with for Polar. And now MAWKZY here spots an opening. He goes for the immediate shot. He's going to go for the double off the backboard, and he gets it in the open net. The opposition just not ready for MAWKZY's quick challenges there. Of course, he is going to be good at that, because that's something you got to be good at in ones if you want to be the best ones in player in the world. Your challenge game has got to be strong, so MAWKZY's challenge game is going to be good. He outplays both players there. Unfortunately, Polar's not there. Take that back, Polar is there. I thought the opposition were going to get the save there. Polar does move in eventually and still get the goal. Makes it 2-0 in this game already. And MAWKZY and Polar looking pretty good here in this setting. They're not partied up, but I believe this game was played immediately after the game we just watched. And MAWKZY with another good pass into the box there. Polar not sticking around for it, and understandably so, because both of the opposition players were back in their net, so it would have been risky for Polar to dive in there. But he probably could have, honestly. Knowing that in hindsight, he probably would have. And MAWKZY now carrying the ball forward. He gets a good flick past the first man, not quite past the second man though, who was standing firm on his own goal line. And Polar now moving in. Gets a decent block. MAWKZY's going to chase it down. Doesn't give any space for the opposition, but he doesn't make any connection with the ball. So Polar's on his own momentarily. The orange team though not really making many, or making much of their players, of their opportunities that they've had so far. Not really counter-attacking as efficiently as they probably would have liked. Now Polar up again, does get a decent clearance over the top of 2 players, but does give the ball away in the process. And MAWKZY here just finding himself some boost. And he's going to wait for the opposition to make their play. He does get a good touchdown, but the ball gets taken away. Polar looking for a pass across field to MAWKZY. Not a great first touch. I think he was in 2 minds to go for a touch and a shot there. Kind of went for both and ends up being a shot very wide. The net is open, but that's a terrible shot from the orange team. Nowhere near on target. MAWKZY might not have been getting back for that if he slotted it into the right side of the goal. Instead he hits the left side of the goal on the backboard, but MAWKZY just overzealous there a little bit, and his goal is wide open. And the orange team do capitalise and get their first goal of the game. 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining, and it's another close game at the moment. Similar to the first game at this stage. MAWKZY moving in here aggressively. It's actually a good block because the ball does pop out to his teammate perfectly, and Polar does slot it home into the bottom left corner. The orange team not home once again to save that. For after a good challenge from MAWKZY, the fake kickoff comes in from the orange team. It's not really going to do much, I don't think. Polar gets a good challenge again. MAWKZY's going to turn. He's got the open net to play with. He skies it. Unfortunately, he does actually play it to himself, though. The ball does come back down. A nice downward trajectory there from the ball. Straight back down to himself. And yeah, he does slot it in eventually after the second attempt. Into the open net. 4-1 now. Lots of goals coming in here. Polar just about getting back for that one, saving it off his own post before it can go in. And a good touch out from Polar actually to MAWKZY, who's turned off ball cam to go for this. Pops it high and not really getting much out of it. But Polar can move in here once again. And he does get a nice double block. MAWKZY and Polar both up. MAWKZY sort of calls him off a bit, but Polar was in the way. MAWKZY didn't want to shoot it low because he was scared he was going to hit his teammate with the ball. So they're kind of getting in each other's way there, but not too much, or not too bad I should say. They are 4-1 up, they're making some good plays. They've got this game pretty much in the bag, I think. They've got it secured. They look like the much better team, barring that they don't keep bumping into each other, getting in each other's way, or anything catastrophic happens, but that's unlikely because that's going in, and the orange team have absolutely messed up that, and that's going to be a forfeit. Not too sure what happened to the opposition there. That was a very weak looping shot from MAWKZY, but it does go in for the 5th goal and his hat-trick. Once again in this game, we have one more replay. We're going to go ahead and watch that now. Third and final replay then on board with MAWKZY, of course, in this game. And he has Abdullah on the other team, who is a very good Tutors player. So a bit of a challenge here for MAWKZY and his teammate. MAWKZY's going to take over this ball from his teammate. A good flick in the air, a good high pop. Tries to go, I believe, for the bump on the opposition. They're not really very close. They're not close enough, at least, to challenge the opposition for a bump. But he's going to go for a dub off the side. All doesn't connect. Fakes it for his teammate, though. He does get a shot off, but it is blocked before the shot becomes too dangerous onto the opposition net. That's a great 50 from Abdullah. The ball does go in past MAWKZY, but not quite into the net. I say go in. It doesn't go in. It goes past MAWKZY. It was a solid challenge from the orange team. MAWKZY now pushing forward here after his teammate drops the ball down. Not close enough to the play though to make anything out of it. It's a good first touch, good patience from MAWKZY, and he goes for the low 50. Absolutely barrels it across the line. That's his 1v1 mindset coming out there. He found himself in a 1v1 situation there. That's what I mean by 2v2. A lot of the time you do find yourself in a 1v1 situation in 2v2. And yeah, when you possess skills like MAWKZY does in the 1v1 setting or 1v1 scene, you're gonna probably rely on him to score those 9 times out of 10, even in a 2v2 setting. And having those 1v1 plays can help you. That's a great challenge from MAWKZY and a great recovery off the sidewall straight into the open net there. Really good ballsy challenge, risky, but it worked off the sidewall. He saw the opening and he went for it. And sometimes that's what you got to do in twos. If you see an opportunity to challenge, sometimes it's best just to go for it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. A lot of the time it probably will work out, or you probably won't concede from it, as long as it's not a rash challenge. If it's quite an obvious opening, then challenge. You know, don't keep backing off. But I was about to say, MAWKZY, with his 1v1 skill, even though his skills are prioritized to 1v1, I should say, you can, his outplays will a lot of the time be good against players in a 2 setting, especially in a 1v2 as well, you know, because he's got that dribbling technique, he's got the flicks, he's got the pop game, he knows when to pop the ball over the first man and then find himself in a 1v1 set. And I think MAWKZY's just very good at that. And he will have no problems adapting to freeze as well, in my opinion. I think when the time comes, if that's something he wants to do, I see no reason why he wouldn't want to. He might well be on a team right now, I don't know. But I think it'd be only a matter of time before a player like MAWKZY, if his mindset is there to grind for freeze, he might get given an opportunity on a decent team. Similar to, you know, how Chronic got that sort of chance that he's now got on Gen G, and he's taken it, you know, very well, and he's doing very well. MAWKZY dribbling past 2 players there, and he's going to shoot this ball into the open net to make it 4-0 with 2:44 remaining on the clock, and that is going to be a forfeit from the orange team, a very early forfeit at that, but they decide that they are done. They've had enough. MAWKZY just comfortably scoring another hat-trick there. Hat-trick in every game, 9 goals in 3 games for MAWKZY. Very impressive stuff. If you enjoyed this video, do leave a like. I would really appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel as well. I would really also appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all very soon.